been thinking a lot about this Micah Miller case. I don't even like calling her Miller anymore. Just Micah Acacia, because I think that's her middle name. Um, Rest in peace, Micah. I am so sorry you had to go through all that with nobody to help you get out of it. It's a bad thing. It is a very, very bad situation that had been going on for a long, long time. It wasn't like a one time thing. This was like over a period of many, many years since the poor girl was 10, 14 years old, something like that. Um, it's tragic. It's just absolutely tragic, and I can't get it off my mind. And I'm definitely following the case extremely closely because I honestly just want to know that justice is done and hopefully that this guy is locked up for what he did. Um, while they're at it, they could lock his father up too if it's not beyond the statute of limitations. That would make me happy as well. Ugh. I'm just learning so much about the control, the level of control this guy had over her. To make her go and get surgeries, to put her on drugs, to just ultimately control her whole darn life. Um, all for his, if you call it pleasure, all for his perversion. Hi, Bo. Mommy wondered where you went, buddy, during the storm. No, I am not reading a tarot. I don't believe in tarot cards. You're on the wrong channel for that. I did see that on a TikTok video. I think somebody was not reading a tarot. They were telling stuff she was saying from the dead on some kind of a automatic computer screen thing, whatever. I may have to move because I think my husband wants to come in here and do what he does every morning with the TV or whatever, and I don't want to disrupt his flow. Which means I can't work on my puzzle, so I'll have to wait till later to do that. I'll maybe do some painting in the other room while he's watching TV. But I just thought I would come on and chat with anybody that wanted to chat because there's a lot of true crime channels that are chatting about this right now. And I have a little bit, but if anybody wanted to, get a little bit more into it and stuff. Hi, Bo. Hi, buddy. Good morning. You cannot walk on my puzzle, man. Sorry. Good morning. I'm live. I will go in the other room.
Just grab me my phone.
Don't you want to watch your shows?
Give me my phone.
Where's your phone at?
Should be plugged in over there somewhere.
Plugged in somewhere?
Yeah, grab the switch too, please.
Okay. Alright. The phone is here and the switch is here. Okay. Got the phone, got the switch. There you go. Got it?
Yeah.
Yep. And there's the kitty cat. Momo. There we go. There's the kitty cat Momo on the back of my chair. She likes to scratch that chair like a scratching post. Alright, anyway, so um yeah, the stuff that he did to her was just, I wish the church would have stepped in, the so-called church would have stepped in and stopped it and reported it, although maybe they did and maybe nothing was done because as I'm learning, there's a lot of stuff in other states and whatever that doesn't get dealt with because people are shady. The authorities, so-called authorities, do nothing about it. So I don't know how much was reported or dealt with at the time. How much they tried to step in and say, hey, you can't be doing this stuff. And they probably thought, he's a grown man, she's a grown woman, they have a right to do what they want behind closed doors. Maybe he convinced them that she wanted to partake in the things that he was having her do. I don't know that part of the story. I just know it's disgusting and despicable and just evil as far as I'm concerned. But then again, I'm looking at it from a Bible standpoint, which supposedly this guy was also living by the Bible. Yeah, not at all godly behavior. More like a certain letter rating behavior. Yeah, no pastor should be engaging in nor requiring his wife to engage in things that are blatantly against biblical beliefs while claiming to follow the Bible. Evil, just wicked and evil on so many levels. Um, I mean, the only solace people have right now is that Micah's at peace. Thank you, Cassie. She's at peace, which is good. But the way she got to that peace is devastating. Her life was prematurely terminated, whether by her or somebody else or influenced by somebody else. She's gone now, and she had a beautiful calling on her life, a missionary. Am I okay? I'm fine, Cassie. Thanks. How are you doing? I'm upset over the Micah situation. I didn't know her personally, but I don't have to. As far as I'm concerned, she was a sister in Yeshua, Jesus, and anytime anybody in the family of God is grieving, it hurts my heart too. We're supposed to weep with those who weep and mourn with those who mourn and feel their pain as well to a level, you know. Ugh, it's so devastating. Anyway, um, yeah, the things I'm learning, not just about him, about his father allegedly abusing children in another country. Um, you know, the Bible says train them up in the way they should go, your children, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. I think that goes both ways. I don't know how much or how privy JP was to his father's doings over in other countries or just in general, but if he was under the influence of all of that, seeing that growing up or knowing about it, and learning that kind of behavior, he was being trained up in the way he should go. And when he was older, he definitely did not depart from it. Stalking a grown woman, and from the time she was little, 10, 14 years old, setting his sights on her when he was an adult. And although he didn't take her at that time, he still planned and plotted everything through the years so he could one day have her. It's just so evil. And there's biblical stories about people doing that. Evil kings did that kind of stuff. Heck, even so called godly kings did that kind of stuff. Look at David. He had Bathsheba's husband killed in battle so he could take her. That was just as evil. You know, my daughter Amber says, well, Mom, you know, God can even save JP. My heart wants to believe that that's possible, but everything in me just despises that individual, even without knowing him, just knowing what he put her through, making her change her body, making her take drugs that ruined her singing voice. That's not love. That's not a loving marriage relationship. That's disgusting and despicable that somebody would do that to somebody they claim to love and showing no concern for her whatsoever and being unfaithful during their marriage. That has come out now too, that there was infidelity. Well, small wonder. I don't think anybody's shocked by that. The dude is not a good character at all, and I hear tell that he is still running the church. I hope that is not the case. I also heard that they closed down the church and got out of Dodge, and he plans on opening another one. So I don't know what to believe at this point. I just know little bits that I've heard through passing, but the story just gets worse and worse as the days go on, and I'm still following it because I really want to know that justice is done for Mica. And to me, justice would be thoroughly investigating this creature and finding out exactly what he's done over the years and prosecuting him. Prosecuting him. Oh, yeah, definitely pray for the church. The church is the people, Simon. You're right. No, you're right. You don't have to redact or redact. I guess you say retract. You don't have to retract your message. You're right. We need to pray for the church. And I do pray that their eyes are opened and that some boldness rises up within that congregation to confront this guy and say, yo, dude, um, you got problems. You need to go get help, and we're not sitting under you until you do. Because we don't sit under false shepherds, because that's exactly what he is. Amen. Eyes wide open. Exactly. Eyes wide open moving forward. That was always my little mantra, if you will. I don't know what you call it. My little trademark. Yes. And until somebody rises up that is not afraid of JP, I think you're going to just see more devastation continue within that congregation and within people's lives. I don't think Mica's the end of it. This guy is very sinister. Once he has his sights set on someone or something, he's very manipulative and knows how to get it. And he's going to keep getting it until people stand up and say, we're not going to put up with this anymore. This guy needs to be called to task. Period. I mean, it's just so sad. This poor young lady who wanted a family, who wanted a life in the mission field, loving children overseas and everything, which was her calling. It's been swiped right out from under her. You know? I mean, even if she did take her own life, things got bad enough to get her to that point. So, I want to tell you guys something. There's somebody in my family, I cannot say who because to respect the privacy. Somebody in my family recently ended their life. Um, It was a pretty devastating thing. I'm not going to give the details, but let's just say it was very carefully planned out using um, a beverage. I'll just say that. Um, it was devastating to us. It's still devastating to know that this person felt that alone that they gave up on life. Anytime somebody does that, it just shakes you to the core, especially if you knew the person. And in my case, I definitely knew the person. I wasn't close with them, but other family members were, and other family members I'm close to were. And we've talked about it, and that's how I found out more of the details of what exactly happened. Um, it's very sad, and yeah, all the more reason I want justice for Mica, because it hit me personally that my family member ended up in that situation where their life was bad enough that they were just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. And this person had many people in our family who would have, had they come back to us physically, we would have been there for this person. We would have helped them. We would have found ways to help them through the pain they were going through and stuff. But now we can't help them because they're gone. And you feel kind of robbed. You feel a mix of emotions. You feel sad that the person's gone, but you also feel kind of robbed. Like, why didn't you at least give us a chance to help you? You know, I mean, this person knows that there's an afterlife. They knew there was an afterlife, and maybe they just figured there's more peace over there on the other side. I think a lot of people feel that way, and it got to be too much for them. And so they very carefully orchestrated the end of their time on this earth. Ugh, it just, it's sad to me. It's so sad. It's so sad that this person died alone with none of their family with them to support them in their last day, and just sad, like I said. Um, anyway, back to Mica. So, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to listen to any of her like worship music songs that she did. She did a lot of fun parodies. I don't know if that was her idea or JP's idea or just the worship team in general, but They were just parodies with like godly words added into secular songs, which I thought was kind of clever. She was very, very talented, very at ease on the stage. It seemed, in spite of everything she was going through, in spite of being drugged repeatedly by indirectly by JP and the medical people. She still seemed very at ease at what she was doing and seemed to really be enjoying herself, although looks obviously can be deceiving. I had no problem going back and watching her do her worship things because I've been on worship teams and it's really near and dear to my heart. But to think that her voice was lost because of JP's appetite, if you will, because he wanted her to take testosterone to increase her libido to keep up with his crazy drive, apparently. It ruined her. It ruined her ability to do what she loved, to sing for the Lord and glorify Him. And that's a good question. No, she knew she was being drugged. She willingly took the testosterone. She didn't know it was going to be devastating on her voice. But I'm sorry, men should not require women or expect that of women because they can't control themselves. Go and get help if you are that deviant, in my opinion, that you want to be picking up people on the street and doing all kinds of exploits with them and requiring your wife to watch and sometimes participate in that. That you want them to take drugs then to make that more possible. This is a pastor we're talking about, y'all. A pastor. This is why people want nothing to do with church, nothing to do with Bible people. They think we're all crazy. It's just, it's so bad when this garbage happens, and it's happening more and more. It is happening all the time. If you mean like the testosterone thing, yes, that happens all the time too, but it shouldn't. I don't know. It's hard because there's such a personal line people don't want to cross. Like doctors can't ask certain questions. Yes, they do, Simon, exactly. Like if a doctor could say, "Hey, why are you requiring this of your wife? Why is this a thing when you have a natural, I assume he had a pretty normal drive in that area. Why are you wanting to enhance the drive? What is going on that all of a sudden you have this big insatiable whatever that you want your wife to do this?" And I don't know if Michael wanted to do that or not. Of course, she was so brainwashed, she probably would do anything for the guy. I don't understand that line of thinking at all. Because I'm not in the situation, of course, but just something seems off there, and it just seems selfish to me, y'all. Selfish, you know. Um, and I understand some people have a stronger drive than others do. I get that. I had a friend that absolutely had to have that activity, or she'd go like pretty much crazy, and ended up, ditching her husband, hooking up with other people. Now she's with nobody and her body's a mess. Yeah, he has Kirby on his shirt. Yep. They saw your Kirby as you walked by. Yeah, he likes Kirby. I have a Kirby hat too. But yeah, I don't I can't wrap my mind around it, and it kind of seems like I really wouldn't want to, because if I did, I'd be probably as crazy as the people that live that way. There's just so much more that's coming out as time goes on of the things that were forced on her or she was convinced she had to do, and she just had no free will of her own. But what gets me, like I said, is that the church knew this was going on and did nothing. We are supposed to be a family of God, a family, especially in that kind of a church. That was a very quote unquote charismatic type of church. You know, my type of belief system, which devastates me even more because we're supposed to be different. We're supposed to be the called out ones. We're supposed to be separate from the world and do things different from the world. When this human, if I dare call him that, did everything like the world, satisfied his inappropriate appetites in inappropriate, sinful, awful ways, and required his wife to be part of that. Sickening. Sickening and devastating altogether. Did the church do nothing because the subject matter was too taboo? You know, that's a good question, and that wouldn't surprise me if it was the case because, you know, it's somebody's love life. Nobody wants to say anything about that. They figure, well, they're grown, consenting adults, so we're not going to say anything. And I don't know how much Mica actually told people was going on with the people being picked up on the streets and doing that kind of stuff. I don't know if Mica really told people that's what he was doing. He could have threatened her and said, hey, don't say anything to anybody about this because I'll lose my position in the church and so will you. I mean, that's very possible. Him and his father both were manipulators and are. And he should not be walking free right now. He needs to be questioned and interrogated as far as I'm concerned. They need to really sit him down and find out where his head is at. I mean, they did say, they made mention that he was diagnosed with something, but they really didn't elaborate on what it was because they probably can't because of HIPAA. Sometimes HIPAA's not such a good thing, in my opinion. Just like women's lib. I mean, it was a good thing, but a bad thing. I heard both sides of that, Simon. I heard that some of them were, he told his wife, hey, let's go get a prostitute. Just out of the blue. And other times, they were just homeless people that he picked up. I heard that they were guys that he did things with right in front of her and made her watch. Whatever that means, made her. I don't know if he threatened her. You need to watch this or else. I don't know how that works. Thankfully, I've never experienced that and hope that Yahweh above, I never do. Regardless, just sickening. I'm sorry, but I don't believe in sexual deviancy, even though it's an alternative lifestyle. I believe it's blatantly against the way God planned things to be. Yeah, I think he did, Simon. That's what I'm thinking. Regardless, just the abusiveness in that relationship was just off the charts, and I think we're going to find out more and more about the specifics of it as time goes on. Um, the hidden things do tend to come to light over time. Did Micah tell you about the men? Um, I had resources that I've examined to find out this information, different resources. I've actually been in touch with somebody that knows her personally. So, yeah, this was not just a one-time thing either. This was a habit of his. Very sick habit. Well, okay, and the other thing is, well, not the other thing, the thing is, he's not just some fly by night dude. He's running a church, a so called Christian church. Yes, it could have, Simon. Good point. It definitely could. And maybe that's going to come out that maybe there was one and that's why the life ended. Who knows? That hasn't been said yet. So I'm not saying even allegedly that's the case, but it's possible. Anything's possible. You guys know I don't really get into true crime a lot unless something jumps out at me, but this is a so-called pastor, and this is a church, and this is a Christian church, a charismatic Christian church nonetheless. And I'm a charismatic, so yeah, that's going to hit home with me because then they represent what I represent and who I represent. And I'm going to have something to say about it because it's just not only did it happen, but this dude is still apparently preaching. Yeah, I don't know how much consensual she was. I think she was scared. I think she was intimidated. This guy held a lot of power, and she was probably sworn to secrecy about a lot of stuff. She was being followed, too. That's the other thing. She was being followed. Oh, I'm pretty sure her soul was pretty good. I don't really think I need to pray for that. I don't believe that you can pray for somebody's soul after death. Sorry, that's a Catholic belief, and I am not Catholic. But if you want to pray for her soul, I'm not going to stop you. Whatever and whoever she was in this life, that's up to God to look at and decide where that goes from there. That's not my place, but you don't want to be followed for talking about this. No, I don't want to be followed for talking about this. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. No, I know. That's true. You're right. You are absolutely right. There are many channels talking about this right now. We just want to see justice done for Mica. I appreciate your concern for sure. And that was my concern over her friend talking about it and giving specifics of everything about herself live. I'm sure people are watching and listening, so got to be careful. I mean, that's a risk you take when you talk about true crime, especially if the person is still out and about, which is why a lot of people just want that not to be the case. Yeah, me too, Simon. I hear that. I'm curious about your name. Do you have a pet rabbit named Simon? Is that why Simon the bunny? Oh, cool. I used to have a pet rabbit. I had a couple pet rabbits actually. Anyway, I appreciate you coming and offering your input on the whole thing. Thank you. At least I don't have to sit here and talk to myself like I normally do. I just thought I'd come on and work on my puzzle and chat a little bit for anybody that wanted to pop in and chat with me. People don't usually come in droves to my channel, but just in case anybody wanted to chat about it. I was trying to think there were other things I wanted to talk to you guys about regarding it too. Yeah, that's true. I was actually following a guy that was talking about the case, and then I read some stuff about him and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to follow him. There's too many complaints about him taking liberties that aren't his to take, getting involved in things that are personal in people's lives. And I've known a couple other true crime people that did that, where they inserted themselves into the family's situations, like showed up at places. Um, I'd rather not say that, Simon. Most people know where I'm from, so you were just talking about being followed and stuff, so I'm not gonna necessarily give that information right now, if that makes sense. Yeah, we'll just keep that under wraps for now, but most people know where I'm at. It's not a big secret. So even coming on YouTube is a risk, so I know that. But it's a platform, and Mica doesn't have a voice anymore, so I'm being one of the voices for her on her behalf. And my daughter and I are following the story very closely because, like I said, we want justice. At the least, JP needs some kind of counseling to make sure he is fit to be behind a pulpit. At the most, probably prison. But there'd have to be a lot of things proven. And in our world, you are innocent until proven guilty. However, as you said earlier, yes, exactly, consistency in the change. As you said earlier, sometimes people are silenced and they're scared to talk. And yeah, that's so true. And that's probably why a lot of people never addressed the issues back when they started happening. Things that looked fishy. A lot of people probably just left the church and said, this doesn't seem right. Because a lot of people knew. It wasn't like it was a big secret what was going on either. Yes, they do. And as you know, narcissists tend to choose positions of power because they do get away with stuff. And it's well known that narcissists, even though they may not have true friends, have fans. They always have people that follow them. They have fans and followers, even if they don't have friends. There's always someone to back them up and say, oh no, he's innocent. He didn't do this, or you misunderstood, or whatever. And that's the problem. We live in a very messed up world. I'm still reading your comments as you post them. I'm pondering very intently what I'm trying to do with this puzzle. It's 1,000 pieces, so there's a lot to do on it. But yeah, keep your comments coming. Um, I'm definitely not doing any of these videos for money, and I'm going to make sure that everything is demonetized because I'm not trying to get money off of somebody's death by any means. That would be absolutely cruel and selfish. Oh, I don't show the image of the puzzle until it's made. I think I may have shown it at one point, but I usually try to reserve that to the end, kind of as a surprise. Because I don't come on here very often, so when I do, I try to have something to bring people back once in a while. I'm not a popular channel anymore. Oh, that's true. I could do that. I never thought of that. I could monetize it and donate to charity. I could definitely give to Mica's fund. I think I'll do that. Thank you. I'll find out where I can send money. I just want to make sure it gets to the investigators, not out in the middle of nowhere or to fund something from the opposite direction. I'm not familiar with how that all works, but that's a brilliant idea. Making money is not necessarily dirty if it flows in the right direction. It just usually doesn't. Right, and that's why I was hesitant to monetize because I don't want to know that I'm funding the opposite side of things, if you know what I mean. I mean, I suppose I could donate to JP's therapy if he gets any, but they'd have to guarantee that they take him out of the pulpit for me to do that and that he's really getting help. And I don't think I would be ever privy to that knowledge. So that would be a hard thing to, decide to fund. But what a nice thought that would be. Hi, Tina. How are you? Good to see you. Haven't been here in a while, not to do like a long, lengthy live stream. Oh, yeah, changes need to be made for sure in a lot of things. And I will always suggest that changes need to be made, but I also know we live in a fallen world and there's certain things that are going to be allowed to happen until what I believe is going to happen is Yeshua will return one day and take home the true believers off of this crazy, messed up place. Oh, you went on holiday. That's fun. I'm good. I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, well, I would not advise anybody to have same gender relationships because that's not my belief structure, but I know what you're saying about that. At least if he's doing something like that and not in the pulpit, he's not bothering anybody. Well, unless he did something to the partner, which, as goofy as he seems to be, he might. So that's not necessarily the answer either. I don't know what the answer is, honestly. I don't think anybody knows what the answer is, other than people who start seeing things that don't seem on the up and up need to speak out, like, right away. Right away. Because I'm sure he came into power over time. It wasn't something where he just showed up and said a few off things and people were like, oh, let's nail him now because we don't want him here running things because he's crazy. No, nobody said anything, apparently, or as far as to my knowledge, they didn't do any drastic things to get him out of there, unless there's something I don't know yet, which is possible because things are always coming out still. But it should have been done in the get go. It should have been done immediately. As soon as they heard him preach something from the pulpit that was like way off, they should have called him to task on it. Um, Reported him, whatever. But then again, I don't know how things run in, what is it, South Carolina, North Carolina. Maybe they brush that stuff under the rug. A lot of the policemen went to that church and probably supported him over the years. So what are people going to do when they report something and nothing's done about it? There's nothing they can do about it. If you don't have the backup of the authorities, then corruption will just happen unabated. And that's fair, Simon. You can believe what you want, of course. And I think in some cases that's true. I just don't think it is always true. Yeah, I think it's more than a bit sinister. I think it's very sinister. Well, and it started with his dad. It didn't start with him. So it just continued down through the ages. I mean, there's a lot of televangelists that are very crooked and messed up and doing things behind the scenes as well. But until it becomes something where someone's life ends, you probably don't hear about it that much, other than in passing. This, yet again, was something sent to me by my daughter, Amber. I didn't know about the case at all till she sent it my way. Well, first it was my other daughter, Carol, that said something, and she's like, "Mom, did you hear about that pastor that supposedly killed his wife?" And I'm like, "I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't following true crime." But then when I heard about it, I checked it out and I was like, "Oh, wow, yeah, something's fishy here." And then I started hearing more and more from other people that knew her. And then I talked to the person that knew her, like firsthand. And it was bad and has been for a long time. So, but I sure hope something's done soon and that restitution is made in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what that looks like because, like I said, I don't know much about these kind of things, but something's got to be done. And JP needs to be looked at and checked out to find out what is making him tick to do all this stuff to his wife and his ex wife and who knows who else. Yeah, it's true crime, all right. This isn't made up. I don't waste my time on made up stories. It's definitely true crime. It's all over in the true crime section. All you got to do is type in Mica Miller and you'll see anything that you want to know that's updated at this point about her and the situation. Right now, the speculation is, did she really, as they say, unalive herself, or did somebody else do that, or influence it in some way? I think it's Mica. I don't think there's an H in her name. I could be wrong, but I think it's Mica. Not to be confused with Mica Millar. Millar. I think she's like a singer of some type. Yeah, no problem. It's very sad because she was starting to get her life back together and starting to finally break free. But y'all know, if you know anything about narcissism, which if you're on my channel for any length of time, you'll find out lots. Um, Narcissists don't like losing control. And if they sense that they are, then they take quick action. That's why I always tell people if they're in danger in a relationship to, yes, you need to get out, but do not tell the narcissist you're planning on leaving. Do not tell the psychopath you're planning on leaving, the sociopath, whatever they happen to be, the partner. Don't even mention it. Don't say, hey, I'm thinking of making some changes. I think our relationship has come to an end. Yeah, don't say any of that stuff. Those are very triggering words to someone that is desperate to hold on to you. Be that right or wrong, there are people that are really that insecure and dangerous that they would rather end you than lose you. I know this for a fact because I ended up in a situation that almost turned out that way years ago. It was very frightening. The drive back to the parking lot near where I lived was very frightening. I did not know if I was going to live through that. So, yeah, you got to be careful. Careful who you get involved with, and be careful if you start seeing things that don't seem on the up and up and you want out. Be careful what you say. Do your best to act like nothing's going on if you do decide to get out, but have a plan, an escape plan, and alert people that you trust that, hey, on this at this time, on this day, this night, whatever, I'm getting out of there, and this is my plan. Please have a car ready for me. I'll be there about this time, and bam, get out and get legal help, of course. I don't know if you guys can hear that noise. That was my alarm going off. I have alarms set on my phone for just about everything. Yeah, sorry about that. Um, you're right. Some legal systems are very corrupt and don't want to get involved, or they take the side of the victimizer rather than the victim. I've seen that happen too. And that's everywhere. That's not just like one state or another. It just happens everywhere. This world is a scary place, for sure. But on the off chance that there might be some decent legal things around, you still need to let people know if somebody's in danger. Don't hide your head in the sand and don't think somebody else is going to report it, because that's how people don't make it. People didn't step in and take action and say, hey, this person needs help. I constantly report stuff. If I hear or see something, even if it's the off chance that I may be wrong, and I'll even say that when I call the authorities, I'll say, look, this might be nothing and it might be something. Please send somebody to check it out. And they usually do. Because they'll call me and ask me questions. Hey, where did you say this happened? Or what did you say they were wearing? And you should, because you don't know. No one came to your rescue and terrible things happened to you in childhood. I understand. Nobody came to my rescue either. I think my mom was too intimidated to take action, or she would leave and then go back, and then the abuse would continue. So I know all about it. And that's another reason I'm so passionate about being a voice for Mica. It's too bad she isn't alive and I could be her voice, but ugh, nobody else was either. Well, to my knowledge. I mean, some people probably tried to step in, like I said, but not enough that this guy was stopped from doing whatever other stuff he was doing to her. Yeah, of course. Have a good day at work, Simon. I understand. I will too. I'll probably be watching Frasier after this. I don't plan on being here a long time today because there's not really anybody talking otherwise. So, like I said, I just came on to see if anybody wanted to talk and they wanted to hear my viewpoint on it. Some people do. So, I just made myself available for such a thing. And if there is an interest, then there is an interest. But you have a nice day. Have a good day at work. I appreciate you coming by. Give your bunny a couple extra pats for me. I love bunny rabbits. Yeah, I think I'm done with the puzzle. I think I'm going to go and get some breakfast. Thank you for the thumb up, whoever gave it to me. If there are no further comments or questions or whatevers, I will head off so I can go and watch some Frasier and do some other stuff. Okay, y'all, have a good day, and I'll be back eventually. See you soon. Justice for Mica.